Hello and welcome to the channel. So today you're gonna be seeing me working on this custom that I've been working on throughout the past couple of days, off and on, just adding some minor highlighting to the raised points of the figure and the fabric, where light would normally reflect off. So this is the Knightfall Batman, the black variant. But obviously, if you can see, I won't, you'll see the finished product later on. But what we're gonna be working on right now is adding some shading to the body and to the cape. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna be using these dry pastels to sort of buff the shadow on the figure. So I think I did mention that this is the black variant of the Knightfall Batman, right? So uh, I was hesitant to buy it. I wasn't sure if I wanted it at first, but I said, well, I guess I can do this custom with it, which was to add the sort of blue highlights and do the whole the um, the animated series look, which has the black cape on the outside with the blue on the inside. So this is my take on it, on a more realistic take on that motif. So what we're gonna do is with the dry pastels, I'm gonna pick some color. I'm gonna pick a gray that kind of matches with the bodysuit, and then got a smudge here of paint, so I'm gonna have to work on that. Uh, so I don't have an exact gray that matches this, so what we're gonna do is mix in some we're gonna mix in some black with it. um, I thought I had it. Oh, here it is. So this is pretty much like the darkest gray that I have, which isn't that dark compared to the figure, but we're gonna mix it in with the black and see how that goes. So I want to see how this looks first using the dry pastels. If that doesn't convince me, I can remove it real quick, and easy, and just go in with like a dry brush. But this is basically like the same principle. And the one that we are going to be using is, where did I put it? So these little makeup applicators, I'm going to be using these. Double-sided, so now that the colors are mixed, we've got a pretty dark gray going on. Now I can apply either carefully or all over the place, right? I can smudge it on if I want, but then I can simply rub it off in the spots I don't need it. So with the dry side, I can then just remove the unwanted spots and leave the leave the high marks of the suit, you know, like the folding parts and parts with folds. Leave those untouched, or high marks where light would be hitting first, and just leave the crevices in shadow. Now you'll see this right here, these splotches. That's imperfection in the plastic. So what we're gonna do is just completely remove that spot. And when we're done, I'm just gonna apply a clear to protect the whole thing. I'm gonna show you how to remove this paint blue splotch of paint. So I'm just gonna pause 1 second. All right, so I got some 91% alcohol here on this shot glass. I'm gonna get a Q-tip here and see if we can remove that paint blotch. If this doesn't work, we'll use something stronger. And I just applied this paint. I applied this paint using the Duplicolor vinyl and fabric paint this morning, just a couple of less than an hour ago. So this paint should not have cured this quickly. I mean, it cures in about 15 minutes, but I mean fully cured. Shouldn't have taken, it should be easier to remove, but it's not coming off. I mean, it is, but it's still there. Sorry. It's still there, but it's taking a bit longer than it should. Alright, so I got some acetone here, fingernail acetone. It's pretty used up. You can already see it should be clear, but it's all colored in like a blue greenish color. Get a new Q-tip. Dip it in the acetone. It should probably come off real quick. Yep, and there it goes. It's gone. And it's gone. Ta-da! It's gone. Let me just add some of that alcohol to thin down the effect of the acetone. And the acetone and alcohol should evaporate pretty quickly. And now that I have the alcohol here, so you're gonna see how it all splotched up in these areas here on the thigh. We're gonna remove the excess. Sorry, I got the camera on a weird angle, so I can't really see what I'm recording. So if I'm off camera several times, I apologize. So there you go. We removed those blotches of that caught up in the imperfect plastic, and we can just carefully go over again the areas we removed. Hmm. Since I've got the window here to my left, to my right, there's a lot of light coming in that direction, so we can't really see the effect of the shadowing. Hopefully you can get a good idea. But at the end, when I go over the review of the figure, we'll see what it looks like. If you were to screw up, you can still manage to blend the the color, the the the, the medium, right? The dry pastels. You can use it to blend, and you can and then remove the excess. But if you don't want to get messy fingers and whatnot, you can use, you know, applicators to, or you can use, I don't have any tissue with me here next to me, but you can also use a tissue paper and to do the blending if you don't have any sort of these sort of applicators handy. But you can get these, you know, at the dollar store in the makeup section. Don't be don't be shy by going in there if it's just yourself. You can always send in your mom, your sister, right, girlfriend, whatever, and you can ask them to pick up a few for you. So like I said, you can certainly use the dry brush technique to do the same effect, but obviously with paint, you have to, I would say, if you're not too experienced, use watercolor. I'm not watercolor, what am I saying? A water-based acrylic. That way it'll be easier to remove in case you get the results you're not looking for. So you can simply just wash it off. I would say that the next step going from here, you know, if you're gonna use these techniques, sorry, is you would either use the dry brush technique. You can use airbrushing if you're handy with an airbrush. Which is again the same thing. You hit the shadows, remove any excess that's in the raised areas of the muscle, on the suit, like the thigh muscles, the knees, the high points, right? You remove the excess off of those areas and leave the crevices intact. And if you can't find dry pastels to do this, again, in the dollar store, you can find makeup kits, eyeshadow kits that are basically the same thing as this, the as the dry pastels, except that except that the technique, I'm sorry, the medium, the uh, the makeup is more um, oil based. You can still remove it using alcohol, right? And you can blend it on and all that. It's just different. It's just a different way of doing the same thing. So I'm gonna do the arms off camera, and when we come back, we're gonna work on the cape. So I finished doing the shadowing on the arms, and I was about to put them on the figure when I realized that I hadn't done the cape yet. And I figured it would be easier to do it without the arms on for the areas here closer to the armpits and all of that in the back. So what we're gonna do is gonna do the blend, the same thing. We're gonna blend in a darker blue into the crevices of the inside of the cape, which is the opposite of what I did on this side, which is apply blue to the raised areas, implying highlights. All right, so in this part here, we did highlights. Although I'm gonna have to reapply some. I'm sorry, I'm looking at the figure close to me. When I applied the masking to do the inside of the cape, the tape removed some of the paint, so I'm gonna have to go over it again, in which I'll show you, I guess, for a few of the spots. But for now, we're gonna work on this, the inside of the cape. Um, Again, it doesn't really matter if it's a an exact match for the blue as to start off as the base, since we're gonna go darker. This is actually pretty close. Hopefully you can tell the difference through the through all the light that's coming through. In the case of doing the inside of the cape for the shadows, um, you can afford to be a little more messy, since the cape is going to be mostly, when you're, well, especially if you're going to use this cape, this plastic cape, since it's going to be mostly posed with it, you're posing the figure with the cape, behind him, right? So it's not, you're gonna pose them with the cape mostly behind them, then the shadows of the figure play into the display with the inside shadows of the cape, right? So it doesn't really matter if you go too overboard with the shadowing. Just make sure that you are shadowing the parts that are folded in and not folded outwards. Like I said, hit the crevices, because those are the parts that are going in and in shadow, as opposed to the parts that are popping out and are hitting the light. Right? Like something like this. Everything that's creased and not receiving light, that should be dark. Anything that's not getting light should be dark, right? And that's pretty much it with this figure. So let me cut back and clean my hands, and I'll record the final look of the figure. One more thing. So I did say that some of the paint from the highlights that I applied on the figure were removed because of the masking, so that I was going to reapply in some areas. So I'm going to show you how I did that. This is a little, business card from one of the art stores here locally in TJ. I got these paint markers that's what I use to apply the paint. So I was looking at what colors to use. This bright blue one, these ones right here. I decided not to use this one, and then started to use this one, this thinner one, the Molotov. So the Molotov is these squiggly ones. So that's what I started to use first to apply the first set of highlights. So again, all we're doing is looking at areas where we have wrinkles that are raised, not in shadow. And let me just make sure we got a running pen. Yes. And then just apply them to the raised points. Not too much, right? You can use the light as your guide as to where to hit them, right? And since this is a pretty dark color, it serves as a good base for the highlights. So all around this area here by the shoulders, we're gonna retouch it. This is where these markers come in handy. I'm mostly a brush guy, but sometimes it's just easier to use these pen brushes. Some would say you're kind of cheating, but I mean, I'm not here to master the art of using of a paintbrush. I'm just here having fun customizing my action figures. So no need to pretend that I'm some master at the craft. Right? Purists, excuse me, purists might have an issue, but I think now that if you have the tools to you, available to you, might as well use them. Same for like the computer, for computer art, the tool is there, use it. If you can make great art using your computer, software and all of that, then do it. Of course, I'm not talking about AI art. AI art is different. I'm talking about actually using your talents to create art. If you like a Wacom tablet and all of that, and you yourself drawing, that's what I'm talking about. And it doesn't look like the legs or the feet need any retouching with the darker colors. So there's that. And then we're gonna go with this marker, this Uni Posca, which is almost looks like the same shade, except, and you would think that this is actually lighter, but this one is actually the lighter color. These are the ones that have these tip strokes. So this color is actually lighter. So you can go in and then apply a second highlight on top. Again, the key is not to go overboard, just hit certain areas where the light would reflect. You don't, because you don't want to overpower the dark color of the cape. This is just, you know, I guess ambient reflective lights, right? That are we are using here to pop out the blue from the black cape. So we're not looking to make, even though the cape on the inside is blue, that was just the effect for the cartoon to make the figure pop out, or the you know, Batman pop out from the silhouette and make it a little more attractive visually. That's not necessarily how it really works, right? Obviously, you're not gonna transform a completely black cape to blue, right? But that was the idea in the animated series. So I'm gonna let that dry for a few minutes, and I'll apply the arms, and then I'll record the finished product. So here we have the final figure, all pretty much finalized. I still may need to go back and retouch some areas where I applied the shading, where it doesn't look quite right, but the technique that you saw me do, you know, is basically just so you can see the how you can do it, right? I wasn't trying to be as precise as I could because of how I was recording and how I was positioned. I couldn't really see perfectly. So again, my setup isn't the most optimal for me to record myself doing a lot of this stuff. That's why you don't see a lot of my work in progress, you know, or me doing the stuff as I'm repainting and all of that. So because my setup isn't just quite right. But here you can see the figure pretty much done. Um, I'm gonna bring out a few figures just for comparisons, just so you can see where it is that I was coming from. So the first figure I just want to bring out is the I guess one of the main more comparisons, the Knightfall Batman that came out. So this is the Comic-Con exclusive version that came out shaded. You can see a difference in terms of how they went about doing the shading on the figure versus my approach, which is just hit more highlights, and then of course their base was blue and gray, mine was black and gray, right? But the main inspiration for the figure was the like I said, the Batman animated series, right? So you have the blue, I'm sorry, the black and gray, but with the blue highlights, with the with the uh, with the blue of the cape on the inside, right? So that's pretty much the main inspiration for this figure. This is where I got it from, and of course the other McFarlane Batman animated series, right? So anyway, let's get a closer look of this guy, just so you can get a better look at those highlights of those blues and the neck. I applied there, you can see on the rims of the horns, or the bat ears, I guess you could say. And then there on the undies, on the gloves, you can clearly see there all of the spots where I hit it by the knuckles, all of the wrinkly areas. And then on the fins here on the of the gloves, right there you can see on both ends. Then on the boots, I hit the rims of the boots up top and by the soles at the bottom, right here all around, and then on the folded parts. And by the on the face, by the on the eyebrows, you can see it right there, and the ridge of the nose. And of course, on the back, you saw me apply the highlights here on the folds by the shoulders, and just some spots on the cape, some high spots on the cape. And of course, you saw me apply the shadowing to the inside of the cape. So that's it. So like I said, at first I wasn't sure if I wanted to pick up the black and gray variant since I already had the blue and gray variants, and blue and gray is my preferred look for Batman. But when I saw it and I had the opportunity to buy it, I think I got it from Amazon for like, I don't know, I think it was $5 off or something. I got it on a discount, that's why I went ahead and bought it. And but when I got it, it was with the intent to do this custom. So in a way, in a roundabout way, it's still a blue and gray Batman, although we're steeped in the animated series look, which was mostly black and gray, right? But in my mind, I can justify it and say, no, it's a blue and gray Batman. He's just got, you know, the blue is being overpowered by the black. Whatever to justify it, right? Anyway, I hope you like it. I hope you like the custom. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you on the next one.